Lucas was a quiet man, a human engineer, living on a trade station near the edge of known space. He fixed things. He worked with machines. He didn't like talking too much. His days were the same. Fix, eat, sleep, repeat. One cold evening, Lucas was walking back from his work bay. He had just repaired a satellite relay. The sky above was filled with distant stars. The spaceport was half empty, shadows stretching long on the steel floor. Suddenly, he heard soft footsteps behind him. He turned. A woman stood there. Her skin was light purple, with silver lines running across her cheeks like ancient markings. Her clothes were torn, and she held something in her arms, a small child wrapped in a blanket. She looked weak. Her knees shook. Her lips moved like she wanted to speak but couldn't. Lucas stepped closer, worried she would fall. "Are you okay?" he asked. She stared at him, and then whispered, "I gave our child your name, human." Lucas froze. "What?" he asked, confused. The woman smiled, her eyes full of sadness. "His name is Lucan, after you." Lucas looked at the small child. The boy's eyes were big and tired, his face pale. The child coughed once, weak and dry. Lucas took a step back. I don't know you." The woman nodded slowly. "You don't remember, but I remember everything." And then she collapsed. Lucas didn't wait. He rushed forward, catching her before she hit the ground. The child slipped from her arms, but Lucas held them both. "Medic!" he shouted. "Someone call the med bay." A nearby worker ran for help. Within minutes, medical bots arrived and took the woman and child away. Lucas stood there, heart racing. What had just happened? In the medical center, Lucas waited. He paced the hallway, glancing at the doors. The woman was inside, the child too. Finally, a doctor came out. "They'll be fine," the doctor said. "Severe exhaustion, hunger, and stress. But they will recover." Lucas nodded, unsure of how to respond. "Do you know them?" the doctor asked. "No," Lucas replied. "At least I don't think so." The doctor looked at him carefully. "The boy's name is Lucan. She said you're the father." Lucas sighed. "That's what she told me too, but I swear I've never met her before tonight." "Maybe it's a mistake," the doctor said. "Or maybe it's something else." Lucas left the med bay even more confused than before. Later, that night, Lucas returned to his room. He couldn't sleep. He kept seeing her face. The way she whispered his name. The way she held the child. The way she fell like she hadn't eaten in days. He looked at his old ship logs. Every mission he had taken, every planet he had visited, but nothing stood out. No sign of her. No memory of her voice, her eyes, or her touch. The next morning, he visited the med bay again. The woman was awake this time. She sat by the bed, gently feeding the child. Her eyes lit up when she saw Lucas. "You came," she said softly. "I had questions," Lucas said. "I still don't understand. Why would you say I'm the father?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she picked up a small pendant from her pocket. It was old and worn, shaped like a gear, just like the ones Lucas used in his repairs. "You gave me this," she said, placing it in his hand. Lucas turned it over. His name was engraved on the back. "Lucas." He looked at her, shocked. "I don't remember," he said. "I don't remember any of this." "You were hurt," she replied. "They made you forget." Lucas blinked. Who did? She only said one word. Varel 9. That name made something tingle in his mind. A cold chill ran down his spine. "Is that where we met?" he asked. She nodded. "It was more than meeting. You saved us. You loved me. And then you were taken." Lucas felt dizzy. The child, Lucan, looked up at him and smiled. "Papa," the boy whispered. Lucas stepped back. Breath caught in his throat. He didn't remember her. He didn't remember the child. But deep inside, something was starting to stir. A feeling. A memory. A truth long buried. Lucas didn't sleep that night. The woman's words kept echoing in his head. You were hurt. They made you forget. He kept looking at the small gear-shaped pendant in his hand. It had his name, Lucas, carved into it. The edges were worn, as if someone had touched it many times over the years. He stared at the name Lucan written on the child's medical chart. Too close to his own name to be a coincidence. But how could he forget a whole woman? A child? A planet? He had to know the truth. The next morning, Lucas returned to his private workroom. He accessed the backup logs of his personal ship, the Gray Mantis. His fingers flew over the control panel as he searched for travel records from 5 years ago. Most of the trips were to mining stations, trade zones, and tech fairs. But then, something strange. A blank spot. 2 full weeks were missing from the ship's data logs. Dates erased. Location, unknown sector. Lucas leaned back, stunned. Why would I delete my own flight data, he muttered. Or, had someone else done it? He connected his neural scanner, an old device used to review memory flashes from piloting sessions. It couldn't read full thoughts, but it could replay moments burned into muscle memory. He closed his eyes, hit start. Flickers. A silver sky, alien trees, glowing in blue light. A soft hand in his, smaller, purple-skinned, trembling. A voice, whispering, "Don't forget me." Suddenly a white flash. Pain, darkness. Lucas opened his eyes, gasping for breath. He stood quickly, hands shaking. He had been there, he had seen her, he had held her hand. But something had blocked it all out. Lucas rushed back to the med bay. Kari, the alien woman, was awake again, sitting near her child's bed. Her eyes met his the moment he entered. You saw something, she said softly. He nodded. Pieces, glimpses, a place with blue trees, a flash of light. Pain. She looked down. That was the end of it. That was when they took you. Who are they? Lucas asked. Kari spoke slowly. People who didn't want you to be with me. You were important to them. They couldn't allow you to disappear forever. So they found you and erased me. Lucas sat beside her, eyes searching her face. Why didn't you stop them? He asked. Kari held her child tighter. I was pregnant. I couldn't fight them. I begged them not to hurt you, and they promised they wouldn't. But I didn't know they'd wipe your memory. Lucas looked at the boy again. Lucan. His eyes were the same shade as Lucas's. That same stare, calm and wide. The child smiled at him again. Are you staying now? He asked. Lucas felt something heavy in his chest. I don't know, he said honestly. That evening, Lucas visited the old ship again. He opened a hidden compartment near the engine. It held items from his travels. Souvenirs, tools, gifts. He reached inside and pulled out a small drawing on thin alien paper. A woman with silver lines on her cheeks. A child with a crooked smile. A man standing behind them. It was a drawing, done by someone who loved them. By him. Lucas stared at the picture for a long time. Tears filled his eyes. He hadn't remembered Kari. But some part of him had refused to let her go completely. Back at the med bay, Kari was talking to the doctor. Lucan was running a high fever. His small body was weak from years of poor nutrition. The doctor looked at Lucas. His biology is part human, he said. We believe only your DNA can help fully heal him. Lucas didn't even hesitate. Do it, he said. As the doctor prepared for a blood match and transfer, Kari whispered something to herself. He came back to us. Lucas stood beside the boy, who looked up at him with tired eyes. Don't go, Lucan whispered. Lucas reached out and held his hand. I'm not going anywhere. For the first time, A connection formed. Not just memory, but something deeper. Something that had never truly been erased. Lucas stared out the ship's window as the stars passed by in long white lines. His fingers tapped nervously on the control panel. Kari sat beside him, holding Lucan close. The boy slept peacefully now, thanks to the blood transfusion. But time was running out. Kari had whispered one name again and again. Varel 9 Lucas. Searched the interstellar maps. But no such planet came up. Official records said it didn't exist, as if the place had been erased. Kari gave him new coordinates, hidden ones. You were there, she said. You lived with me. You smiled. You loved. You said we'd name him after you. Lucas looked at the child sleeping on her lap. Lucan. The name burned in his heart now. I still don't remember all of it, he told her. You will, she said softly, but only there. As the gray mantis left charted space, strange signals filled the ship's sensors, static, distortion, small bursts of alien code. Then, silence. And then, through the window, a planet appeared, a quiet blue orb surrounded by purple mist. 2 glowing moons floated above it, and in the distance, floating, towers half covered in vines. Varel 9. Lucas stared. Something inside him pulled tight. Attention. A memory. This place, he whispered. It feels like home? Kari asked. Lucas nodded. They landed near the edge of a ruined village. It was peaceful, but abandoned. Strange plants moved slowly in the wind, glowing faintly as they stepped onto the soft soil. Lucas felt something. A scent. A sound. A memory of laughter. He touched a wall and saw a flash. A memory. Kari laughing as he dropped a bowl of alien fruit. Lucan's small hands pulling at his beard. Nights under glowing trees. He gasped and stepped back. They're coming back, he said. The memories. Suddenly a soft voice called from the shadows. You've returned. An old alien stepped out with deep wrinkles and blind white eyes. He carried a staff with a glowing tip. Kari smiled. Elder Varu. Lucas blinked. He knew that name. The old one came closer and touched Lucas's face. They said they'd taken you, that your mind was sealed, the elder whispered. But I told them, love never dies. Lucas frowned. Who took me? Why? The elder sighed. You helped us during the drought, repaired our water systems, saved the harvest. You loved one of ours, but when the Galactic Corps found out, they feared what it meant. A human bonding with an alien, a child born from both worlds. They couldn't allow it. So, they erased me, Lucas said bitterly. Your mind, yes, said the elder, but not your soul. Kari led him to an old temple, half collapsed and covered in moss. Inside was a sealed door. It lit up when Lucas touched it. It knows you, Kari said. It's the memory vault. Lucas stepped inside. The room was dark at first, then a soft hum. Blue light surrounded him, and then visions. Him and Kari dancing in the rain. Him fixing the temple roof. Lucan's first laugh. The promise. No matter what happens, I'll always come back to you. Tears ran down Lucas's cheeks. They had loved, deeply, truly, and he had forgotten it all. Outside the vault, Kari waited nervously. The child slept again, curled in her cloak. The elder sat nearby, smiling. He remembers now. Kari nodded, her voice trembling. But will he stay? The vault opened slowly. Lucas stepped out. His face was wet with tears, but his eyes were clear now. He walked over, knelt beside Kari, and touched her cheek gently. I remember everything, he said. The promise. The night under the moons. Our son's name. She looked up at him with wide eyes. Then you know why I found you, she said. Why I had to bring you back. Lucas nodded. To make our family whole again. He looked down at Lucan, sleeping peacefully, and for the first time, he felt like a father. Lucas couldn't stop thinking about the name, Varel 9. It wasn't on any current star maps, no official records showed it. Even the Galactic Registry labeled it uncharted and uninhabited. But Kari had said something strange the night before. It's a place they don't want remembered because love grew there. That sentence haunted him. So now, Lucas was flying toward the unknown, with Kari and her son, Lucan, aboard the Grey Mantis. The ship's engines hummed steadily, but his heart pounded with questions. The journey was rough. Strange waves hit their ship, distorting their navigation. One moment, the stars bent into curves. The next, darkness swallowed the view screen. Kari remained calm, whispering instructions. "This is how they hide Varel 9, she said. "It's wrapped in memory fog." Lucas didn't understand the science, but he trusted her voice. Finally, they broke through, and what he saw made his breath stop. A planet floated in silence. Varel 9. Covered in thick green forests. Rivers shimmered like liquid silver. Floating rocks hovered above valleys. A broken ring of satellites circled above, dead and rusting. The moment the ship entered the atmosphere, Lucas felt dizzy. Memories stirred, like whispers through a closed door. They landed near a strange, quiet village. No lights, no machines. Just the ruins of homes made from crystal and vine. Wildflowers bloomed between cracks. The wind smelled familiar. Lucas stepped out and looked around. I've been here before." Kari walked beside him. "Yes," she said. "We lived here." Lucas touched a vine-covered wall. It was cold, but a picture had been scratched onto it. Simple, childish drawings. 3 figures. A tall man, a woman with stripes on her cheeks, a child with 2 stars above his head. Lucas stared at it, frozen. "Lucan drew that," Kari said, "when you were still with us." Deeper into the forest, they reached an overgrown garden. In the center stood an old statue, a man holding a strange tool in one hand and a child in the other. The plaque at the bottom read, "To the one who repaired more than machines." Lucas's hands trembled. Kari watched him carefully. "You saved our harvest that year, our lives, and mine." Lucas didn't speak. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the statue. A soft pulse of light rippled through the ground. Then came the memory. Sudden, sharp. He stood in this garden, laughing as Kari poured water on his head. The sun was warm, her smile brighter than any star. Lucan, just a baby, crawled through the grass. Then, sirens. Men in dark armor stormed the trees. Kari screamed. Lucas tried to protect her. And then, white light, pain, darkness, silence. He staggered back, eyes wide. "I remember," he whispered. Kari rushed forward. "You do?" Lucas looked at her, heart pounding. "Pieces. I saw them take me. You were crying, I tried to fight." Kari nodded slowly. "They didn't kill you. They erased you." "Why?" "Because they feared what you meant, a human who chose to stay, who chose me." Suddenly a figure stepped out of the trees, an old alien woman with crystal blue eyes and a walking staff shaped like a crescent. Kari bowed her head. "Elder Siva." The elder came forward. Her voice was gentle. "He remembers now." Lucas looked at her. "Do I know you?" She smiled. "You once called me your teacher. I helped you learn our language. You fixed our broken sun pumps. And when you held Kari's hand at the harvest festival, I saw what no outsider had ever done." Lucas waited. "You chose love over war, and that scared the people who rule the stars." Elder Siva led them to a temple half buried in vines. Inside, glowing blue crystals lined the walls. In the center, an Orb floated, pulsing softly. Kari touched it, and it responded. "This is the vault of memory," she said. "You left part of yourself here. Your choice, in case you were taken." Lucas stepped forward, unsure. "Will it hurt?" he asked. Kari smiled gently. "Only if you're afraid of the truth." He placed his hand on the orb. Light surrounded him. Memories came flooding in, faster this time. Kari's kiss, Lucan's first word, laughing by the fire, singing under moons, promising her he'd never leave, and then saying goodbye without knowing it. The light faded. Lucas fell to his knees, breathing hard. "I remember everything." Kari knelt beside him. "Then you know you were never just passing through. You were one of us." Lucas looked at Lucan, who was waking up now. The child blinked, yawned, and looked at Lucas with big, bright eyes. "Papa?" Lucas reached out his arms. The boy ran into them. The stars above Varel 9 shimmered gently, casting blue light across the ancient temple. Lucas stood in silence at the center of the vault chamber. His breathing was slow, but his heart raced. Around him, soft lights floated like fireflies. The air hummed with quiet power. This was the memory. Vault, not just a place, but a living structure made from Varelian crystal, built to protect the mind and heart of anyone who had loved and lost. And Lucas had lost more than he ever knew. Kari stood by the entrance, holding Lucan close. She didn't speak, didn't move. She simply watched. Lucas turned toward the core of the vault, a large crystal sphere resting on a pedestal. It glowed as if it knew him. Kari spoke at last. "You came here once, just before the soldiers arrived. You left a piece of your soul in that crystal." Lucas stepped closer, feeling drawn to it. "Why?" he asked. Kari's voice was quiet. "You said, if they erased your memories, your heart would still remember." Lucas placed both hands on the crystal. A pulse of light burst out gently, not painful, but warm. His knees weakened, and his mind opened. The world around him changed. He was no longer in the vault. He stood under twin moons, his hands wrapped around Kari's. They danced barefoot through glowing grass, music playing from nearby drums. Villagers laughed and clapped. "I've never been happier," Lucas said. "You'll stay?" Kari asked. "I'll stay forever," he answered. The memory changed. A small home, warm and quiet. Lucan asleep in a blanket curled between them. "I want to name him after you," Kari whispered. Lucas smiled. "Lucan, that's perfect." Another shift. Explosions. Sirens. Kari crying, holding baby Lucan. Men shouting in strange uniforms. Lucas fighting back. A needle forced into his neck. Kari screaming. Lucas fell to his knees in the real world. Tears fell down his cheeks. "I didn't want to leave," he whispered. Kari walked to him, knelt down, and held his face in her hands. "You didn't," she said. "They took you. But your promise stayed." The vault faded to silence. Lucas rose slowly, heart heavy, but stronger now. His memories weren't just returned, they were anchored, permanent. He looked at Kari. "I remember every smile, every night, every kiss, and I remember making a promise to come back," she said softly. Lucas turned toward Lucan. The boy watched him with wide eyes, unsure but hopeful. Lucas held out his arms. Lucan ran to him. "Papa!" the boy cried. Lucas hugged him tightly. He had no more doubts now. This was his son. This was his family. But peace was short. Elder Siva entered the chamber, her staff tapping gently. Her face was calm, but her eyes full of warning. "They know," she said. Lucas stood. "Who?" "The ones who erased you," she replied. "Galactic Core. Their sensors picked up your return." Kari looked alarmed. "They'll try to take him again." Lucas clenched his fists. Let them try. They returned to the village. At the center, Lucas stood with Kari and Lucan as villagers gathered. Elder Siva raised her voice. You all remember the man who saved our crops, who chose to stay. He has returned not by force but by heart. The people nodded, murmurs of agreement spreading. But the ones who erased him, she continued, now seek to undo his return. Lucas stepped forward. This time I won't run. This time I remember, and I will protect my family. That night, Lucas sat under the stars with Kari and Lucan. The child had fallen asleep in his lap. Kari leaned against his shoulder. I was afraid, she said softly, that even if you remembered, you wouldn't want us. Lucas looked down at Lucan's peaceful face. I don't just want you, he whispered. I need you. The wind carried the sound of distant engines. Ships were coming. But Lucas was no longer confused, no longer lost. He was a father, he was a partner. He was ready. Night fell slowly on Virel 9. The stars above shimmered like cold watchers. Lucas stood on the rooftop of the small home Kari once built with her bare hands. Lucan slept peacefully inside, wrapped in a warm blanket. Kari sat beside Lucas, arms folded, quiet for a long time. She hadn't spoken much since the vault. But tonight Lucas could feel something heavy in the silence between them. A truth waiting. A truth she was still afraid to say. Lucas turned to her gently. You brought me back, he said. You risked everything. Why do you still look afraid? Kari didn't meet his eyes. Instead, she looked out toward the forest where the shadows moved slowly under the moonlight. Because there's something I didn't tell you, she whispered. Something I've kept from you, even after your memories returned. Lucas waited, heart calm but alert. Kari took a shaky breath. You were never supposed to survive the memory wipe. Lucas blinked. What? She looked at him now. They wanted to erase you completely, mind, memory, and life. It was easier for them to erase one man than to answer why a human chose to build a life on an alien world. Lucas's breath caught in his throat. Why didn't they? Kari's hands trembled as she placed something in his palm. A small broken device. A tiny light blinked on its side. I stole this, she said. It interfered with the neural wipe process. Just enough to keep you breathing, but not enough to keep your memories safe. Lucas stared at the device. You saved me by letting me forget you. Kari nodded, her eyes glassy. I thought, if I could keep you alive even if you didn't know us, it was worth the pain. Lucas lowered his head. He understood now why her smile always carried a shadow, why she had never begged or blamed, why she had waited 5 years to find him again. She had lived alone, with his child, knowing he was alive but couldn't remember them. That kind of love didn't scream. It stayed. It endured. And now, he was here again. Because she had never given up. A sudden sharp beep broke the moment. Lucas turned toward the noise. The old comm unit near the door lit up with red text. Unmarked. Ships entering atmosphere. Kari stood quickly, her voice calm but alert. They're here. Lucas clenched his jaw. Let them come. She stepped in front of him. No, you don't understand. These aren't just soldiers. He looked at her. Then who are they? Her answer chilled him. The ones who ordered your erasure. The ones who fear what you now remember. They moved quickly. Villagers gathered. Elder Siva stood at the center of the circle, her staff glowing bright blue. The air shifted as engines roared above. 3 sleek silver ships cut through the sky like blades. No lights, no markings. Kari gripped Lucas's hand. They don't speak. They don't explain, they take. Lucas stepped forward, shielding Lucan, who had just woken up. The boy clung to Kari's leg, frightened. As the ships landed, a chilling silence fell over the village. The doors opened. Out came tall figures in black armor, faces hidden behind smooth helmets. No voices, no emotion. One of them pointed directly at Lucas. Then a deep voice echoed from a small speaker on its chest. Return the subject. Wipe will resume. Interference has violated protocol code 03V. Lucas stepped forward. I remember everything now. Memory reintegration confirmed, risk level unstable, containment required. Kari stepped beside him. He's not your subject. He's our family. Unauthorized genetic mixing between species. Record classified. Child existence. Unsanctioned. Lucas took a step closer. You're not touching my son. Suddenly, the crowd moved. Villagers, young and old, stepped forward, forming a wall between the armored soldiers and Lucas's family. Elder Siva raised her glowing staff high. You erased one of us once, she said firmly. Not again. The soldiers didn't move. Then the staff pulsed, and the entire ground trembled. Kari whispered to Lucas, This land, it remembers, too. It protects those who belong to it, and this time, Lucas belonged. Without firing a single shot, the soldiers slowly backed away. Their scanners failed. The village itself, alive with memory energy, shut down their systems. The soldiers retreated, ships rising back into the sky, disappearing without a word. Lucas looked around, stunned. Why didn't they fight? Kari smiled tearfully. Because they couldn't fight something stronger than control. What's that? Love that survives memory loss, she said, and truth that refuses to stay buried. Lucas looked at his son. Lucan reached out, wrapping his small hand around Lucas's thumb. And in that moment, Lucas knew. He wasn't just remembering. He was living it again. For real this time. The danger had passed. The unmarked ships were gone. The armored soldiers had retreated. But the quiet that followed felt different. Lucas sat on the stone steps outside Kari's home. Lucan was asleep again, curled in a blanket beside him. The boy's head rested against his arm like it belonged there. It did. For the first time in years, maybe in his whole life, Lucas didn't feel lost. He felt like a father. Kari stepped out, holding 2 cups of warm herbal drink. She sat next to him and handed one over. He looks peaceful, she whispered. Lucas smiled. He's safe now. She studied his face for a moment. So are you. Lucas looked at her, his voice quiet. I wasn't ready before. I didn't know what I'd find, but now I do. You. Him. Us. Kari lowered her gaze. I waited a long time to hear that. Lucas gently reached over and touched her hand. I'm sorry I left. You didn't leave, she said. You were taken. Lucas squeezed her hand. Then let me stay. By choice. This time, I choose you. Morning light crept over the trees. Villagers brought offerings. Fruit, warm, clothes, carved toys, gifts for the child of the human who returned. Lucan ran around the garden, laughing as he held a carved wooden bird in his hands. He stopped now and then just to hug Lucas's leg. Papa, look, he said, holding the toy high. Lucas picked him up with a smile. You made friends fast. The boy giggled. Because I told them you're strong and you fix everything. Lucas chuckled. Not everything, but I'll always try. That afternoon, Elder Siva called Lucas to the temple. The vault of memory glowed soft and blue once more. You remember now, she said. But do you understand what it means? Lucas nodded slowly. It means I was stolen from them, and now I'm back. The elder's eyes were kind. Yes, but it also means you are connected to us now. Your blood, your memories, your love, it binds you to this world. Lucas looked thoughtful. Then I'll protect it. With everything I have. But peace wasn't simple. That night, a message crackled through a hidden comm link aboard the Grey Mantis. Lucas checked it quietly while Kari and Lucan slept. It was from Earth Command. Subject L-47. Presence confirmed on Varel 9. Retrieval. Recommended. Stand down and await contact. Lucas's face hardened. They still saw him as a subject. Not a father, not a partner, not a man, just a file. He powered off the device and returned to the small home. Kari stirred as he entered, blinking in the low lantern light. "You're quiet," she whispered. "I got a message," he replied. She sat up, alert. "From them?" He nodded. "They're watching? Maybe, but I don't care." Kari touched his arm. "They won't stop." Lucas looked at her, and at Lucan sleeping soundly between them. "Then I won't stop either." The next day Lucas made a decision. He called the villagers together and stood with Kari and Lucan. "I know some of you worry they'll come back," he said, "but this time, we won't wait." He looked around. "I used to fix machines, but now I want to help build protection. Shields, alerts, emergency tunnels. We can make this village safer than it's ever been." The villagers nodded. Some smiled. Others looked inspired. Kari stepped forward, her voice strong. "He's not just our guest. He's one of us." Lucas spent the next weeks working nonstop. He trained young Varelians in energy defense. He upgraded old tech that had been forgotten for years. And each night he came home to Kari and Lucan. Sometimes Lucan would fall asleep on his work table, surrounded by glowing tools. Sometimes Kari would rest beside him as he soldered pieces in silence. Sometimes, Lucas would just sit back and watch them sleep, wondering how he'd lived without them. One night, Lucan woke up crying. Lucas rushed over. "Bad dream?" The boy nodded, wiping tears from his face. "Were they trying to take you again?" Lucas asked gently. Lucan nodded again. Lucas picked him up and held him close. "No one's taking you," he whispered. "Not while I'm breathing." Lucan sniffled. "Promise?" Lucas kissed his forehead. "With my whole heart." Outside, the wind blew softly. Inside, a family finally healed, and a father. Fully awake at last. The wind was gentle that morning. Varel 9 glowed under twin suns. The trees shimmered with silver dew. Birds sang slow, soft songs that only grew in that part of the galaxy. Inside their small home, Lucas tightened the final piece of a handmade bracelet. It was made from broken gear parts, crystal beads, and a single carved stone. One word was engraved on it: Lucan. Kari entered quietly, watching him work. "You've been busy," she said, smiling. Lucas nodded. "It's for him. A gift. For the day I say his name out loud, in front of everyone." Kari looked surprised. "You haven't told them yet?" He shook his head. "Not the way I want to." Later, the villagers gathered in the center square. Lanterns hung from the trees. Small children ran in circles, laughing. Music played from handmade instruments. It was the naming day ceremony, a tradition Kari had told Lucas about. Long ago, when a child was truly accepted by the people, their name would be spoken aloud by someone who loved them. It was not just a sound, but a promise, a declaration. Lucas stood before the crowd, heart racing. He held the bracelet in his hand. Kari stood behind him. Lucan held her hand, peeking at the crowd with wide eyes. Lucas cleared his throat. "I used to think names were simple," he said. "Just sounds we respond to. But then I came here and forgot mine. Forgot hers. Forgot his." The crowd listened silently. But even when I forgot everything, this boy still carried something I didn't deserve. He carried my name. He turned and knelt before the child. "Lucan," he said softly. The boy smiled. Lucas held out the bracelet. "This is for you. Not just because you're my son, but because you carry a name that reminds me who I am." Lucan reached forward and took the bracelet with both hands. "Thank you, Papa." Lucas hugged him tight, holding back tears. The villagers clapped softly at first, then louder. Cheers rose into the sky. Elder Siva stepped forward and touched Lucas's shoulder. "Now," she said, "you are more than memory. You are family." Kari came forward and placed her hand in Lucas's. "He's always had your name," she whispered. "But now, You've earned it. But far above the peaceful planet, a message traveled through space. It was short, simple, cold. Subject L-47, reclaimed territory, memory intact, local resistance strong, no retrieval possible. Reply came back instantly. Status updated, file closed, human dismissed. Lucas had become something no system could control. A man who remembered what they tried to erase. And even the galaxy had to let him go. Back on Varel 9, life grew. Lucas rebuilt the broken village pump system. Kari planted a new garden, teaching Lucan which roots were for medicine and which were for stew. Sometimes Lucas would fix a machine. Sometimes he would just lie on the grass with Lucan sleeping on his chest. And sometimes he would wake in the night afraid it was all a dream. But then Kari would place her hand in his. "You're home," she'd whisper. And he would believe it all over again. One evening, as they watched the stars rise, Lucan pointed up and asked, "Papa, is that where you came from?" Lucas followed his finger. "Yes," he said. "But that place forgot me." Lucan looked confused. "Then why did you come back?" Lucas smiled, pulling him closer. "Because your mother remembered, and because you were waiting." And somewhere between the stars, a file labeled L-47 terminated mission was quietly buried deep in a cold archive, forgotten by them, but not by those who truly mattered. Because love didn't need approval, because truth didn't need permission, and because a child's name, Lucan, had changed everything, forever.